Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Hello? Okay. Accidentally hit that damn button. Anyway, man, Canelo and Crawford. A lot of mixed opinions on it, and I'm going to keep talking about both of these guys until it's fight time. And hopefully they both make it into the ring because, we still have many months before they're supposed to fight, and anything can happen. But one thing's for sure. When it comes to Canelo and Crawford, the size of the ring is going to matter. I don't care what anyone says. Crawford's a bad boy, but if he gets stuck in a ring like what Otto Wallen was stuck in this weekend when he faced Derek Chisora, or like what Tony Harrison was stuck in when he went to Australia and he faced Tim Tszyu, Terence Crawford going to be in trouble. Now, that being said, right, when we start talking about the ring, some people think ring size doesn't matter. But I'm going to tell you, ring size matters, okay? Now, there's an article that I was reading, and I figured I would just share it with you, and you can follow along. It says, how big is a boxing ring? And this is just a comprehensive guide for fans and fighters. And the things they're talking about here is when you think about a boxing match, no doubt you think about the ring, the sound of the gloves, sounds of the crowd roaring. But one thing that I think not some fans pay attention to it, but others don't, is actually the size of the ring. Now, you've always heard fighters complain about Floyd Mayweather and how Floyd Mayweather always wanted a large ring. Let me do this right here. So let me deactivate that, and let me come here. And where is this? Move this up here. Activate. Let's see if it pops up. Okay, where is it? I'm looking for. Where the hell is it? I'm trying to find it, but anyway, I can't find it. So let me just go ahead and put it back here. Oh, Lord have mercy. Deactivate that and then activate it back here. Okay, so let's go back. Anyway, as far as the size of a boxing ring, if Crawford ends up getting stuck in a situation where he has to be in a boxing ring that's about 16 feet, I think Crawford's going to be in trouble. You always hear the fighter who has more of the pressure style, come forward, cutting the ring off, they always want a small ring. They don't want to be in a large ring. You saw when, what's his name? He fights at 130. O'Shaquie Foster was fighting in Mexico. And a fight he was losing and came back to get a knockout. They had him in a small ring. I think that ring was around 16 feet. And then Mayweather always had rings that were 18 to 20 feet. And he utilized every inch of that ring to get his victories. But for Terence Crawford, he's definitely going to have to make sure that he holds his ground when it comes to the ring size. Because I'm going to tell you, Canelo, one thing about Canelo's not going to want to be in no damn ring where he can't catch up to Terence Crawford. He's not going to want to be in a ring with Terence Crawford, a 20-foot ring. So if it's between 16 and 20 feet, I could see them kind of striking the sweet spot around 18. As far as Canelo being the A side and Canelo going to dictate terms, that's not how that works with Turki Al-Sheikh. You go in there, you negotiate your fight purse, you get what you can negotiate. Turki Al-Sheikh pays you good money. But as far as you coming in and saying, I want a 16-foot ring and I want this, I don't think that's how that works over there. I think Turki Al-Sheikh pretty much is going to be like, nope, this is what it's going to be. And I just wonder if Crawford's going to get stuck in a small ring. If he does, then that means they're just setting Crawford up to lose the fight. Not saying he can't win in a small ring because Crawford's a dog, but let's be real. That ain't Crawford's strength to be in a phone booth fighting an enclosed fight. That ain't his strength, and especially him bubbling up a couple weight divisions to fight Canelo. That's the worst thing he wants to do is be in a damn phone booth with him. But you never know. Crawford may shock us all and say, I don't care, put me in a 16-foot ring and get in there, man, and knock out Canelo. I mean, I would see Canelo clipping him in a smaller ring, but you just never know because Crawford is that guy, right? But the question about does the size of a boxing ring matter? Look, I always say it does. Many fans believe it does. Boxing experts believe it does. But there are some, like this article says, that feels that the boxing ring and the size is just a trivial detail. But the bottom line is, it does play, like the article says, a critical role in the dynamics of a fight. And the reason why is because of the movement and strategy. Okay? Now, movement and strategy, we all know fighters talk about footwork, talk about the strategy, sticking to the game plan. The larger the ring, the more room the fighters have to move. If you're a Rigondeaux, an Erislandy Lara, a Floyd Mayweather, a Terence Crawford, you want to be in the larger ring so you have the ability to move around. Now, in the smaller ring, fighters are forced to engage more quickly, which can change the pace and strategy of the fight. Boxers with excellent footwork will benefit from a larger ring as it allows them to dance around their opponent. Now, a good example of a fighter with a pressure style who probably prefers to fight in the phone booth and being in a larger ring against a fighter who had great footwork and was boxing outstandingly, and the pressure fighter who preferred a smaller ring losing was Pitbull Cruz against Valenzuela, El Rayo Valenzuela. That was a fight. If that fight was in a small ring, Pitbull Cruz would have won. But Valenzuela, look, he was allowed to utilize every inch of that ring, and he was able to do what he had to do, man, with his footwork and just be able to avoid Pitbull Cruz trying to catch up to him. Fighting styles as the size of the ring can also play to certain fighters' strength. For instance, like we're talking about, power punches may thrive in a smaller ring. The Pitbull Cruzes, a guy like Chisora, and who else is somebody, man, who's just brings that pressure and just fighting. Man, who else fights like that? I'm talking about right now. Joe Frazier was one, but I'm talking about today. Oh, Nick Ball. Nick Ball is one. And who else tries to get on you and just maul you? Off the top of my head, man, I can't really think of someone who's just trying to come and maul you. Maybe a Subriel Matias. He's one. I don't know, man. Top of my head, man, I really can't think of any of these other fighters, man. But Tim Tszyu is one. He prefers a smaller ring. But anyway, man, on the other hand, boxers, with that speed, agility, and footwork, prefer a larger ring to maintain distance and avoid being trapped in a corner. Again, Terence Crawford definitely would probably benefit from being in a larger ring. Now, as far as the safety, a well-designed boxing ring ensures the safety of fighters. The rope acts as barriers, and the padding around the ring reduces the risk of injury. Too small of a ring could lead to accidents, as fighters may be forced into awkward positions or missing their footing. So we may get a larger ring just for safety precautions. You know what I'm saying? I never really thought about that. The smaller the ring, the more there's a chance of an accident. I never really thought about that. And that's interesting because you figure if it's a small ring and one guy's stalking and the other one's evading, they could get the feet tangled up, or someone could be trying to get out the way and end up falling. Shakur Stevenson, someone who comes to mind with him and his boxing style, where I could see him definitely in the small ring, tripping and falling or falling out the ropes, trying to grab the pressure fighter, and the pressure fighter with his intensity, just tossing, a guy like Shakur. I could see it being a very ugly fight, and I could see where there could be some safety issues. And so that's actually a pretty good damn point. So these are boxing ring dimensions in different competitions. So this is just showing you as far as the different competitions, and this is showing you the elevation. Now, while the 16 to 20 foot range is the most common, some variations exist depending on the competition level. So, in the amateur boxing, rings are a bit smaller. Okay, so this is why they're always talking about the pro boxing is different from the amateurs, because in the pro boxing, you can see that you end up getting in a larger ring. So the amateurs, they typically range from 16 to 18 in length and width. And the reduced space is meant to create a faster paced match where the points are scored quickly. That's why. And in the pro boxing ring and major professional fights, the ring tends to be on the larger end of the spectrum, often 20 feet or even slightly larger. Oh shit. 22 by, okay, 22 by 22. I have heard of that. Somebody wanted a 22-foot ring. I can't remember if that was Mayweather or somebody, but the ring was huge. Larger rings are common in title fights and events that are broadcast to international audiences. So Crawford could end up getting a larger ring. He could end up getting a larger ring. This is good medicine right here, man. The wrestling and MMA, I mean, nobody really gives a shit, but since it's on here, it's worth mentioning that the dimensions of a boxing ring are different from those used in other combat sports. Pro wrestling rings are usually a bit larger. That makes sense. When MMA fighters compete in an octagon, which has distinct dimensions. Okay. Now, what you're seeing here, this right here is just crazy. You see that wooden ring with that like rug on top of it? This is what boxing rings used to look like. Could you imagine being in a fight, a boxing match, and getting clipped and going down, and your head hitting that shit? Oh, someone's gonna die, man. That is horrible. But fortunately, Crawford and them aren't gonna be fighting in that kind of ring, so they're okay. Then we come on down here where it just talks about the history of the boxing ring. We're not worried about that. Ropes softer today's ring. Look, the bottom line is what I just learned from reading that is Crawford and Canelo, because it's going to be an international audience, it's a professional boxing match. The ring could definitely be 20 to 22 feet. The 16-foot ring, 18-foot ring, that's more for the amateurs. And if you're the A side, you could dictate something like that. But I just don't think that's going to fly here. I don't think Turk Al-Sheikh is going to. I think he's going to try to make it as even of a fight as he could possibly make it. With both of them going into the ring. He can't control Crawford and how he was born and how he trains. He can't control Canelo, how he was born, how he trains. But he can control shit like the ring size, judges, referee, maybe the temperature in there. He can make sure the ropes. He can make sure he can control the doctors. But he can't perform how those guys prepare. But he depending on the ring size, that can affect Crawford and Canelo's performance. One could be better than the other, or both could be great, or both could be sabotaged, because again, you're talking about safety precautions now in a much smaller ring. That being said, I can't wait till they start providing the finer details about Crawford and Canelo, because I want to know. Like DMX, I want to know. No, that shit just came to mind, right? What size is the ring going to be? That's all I want to know. So y'all can sit here and say Crawford's going to do this or Canelo's going to do that. The size of the ring is going to matter. And if that ring's small, Crawford's ass is in trouble. I don't care what you say. But if that ring is huge, Canelo ass in trouble. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, 7 continents. Talk about the things that matter, not just opinions. The size of that ring, that shit's going to matter. Keep cool, I'm in the breeze.